Hey everybody, this is Kevin and welcome back to another brand new build series. Last week you saw me start the DeAgostini kit of the Lotus Renault 97T, Ayrton Senna's 1980s race car. And this week we're going to start another new build from DeAgostini. We're going to be building the International Space Station, or simply put, the ISS. Now, one thing I want to tell you about this build video is, and I've seen this on other people's videos, the manual or the instructions that come with it do not indicate which modules you're building in that particular stage. Starting right off the get-go from stage 1 here, you'll see in a second, I'm going to build up a module, but I can't tell you what it is. I've looked it up online, I've Googled assembly diagrams, schematics of the ISS, and I cannot tell which module this is. So if you're able to identify it, or you're able to do some research and find out, please let me know in the comments what I'm actually building, because I don't have a clue. So it's probably more toward the center of the model, because I assume it's going to branch out from the center, but who knows. So with that, let's get the kit going and let's start building. Okay, I want to start by showing you how the packages come. It changes as future stages show up. I believe they come in plastic bags, but initially they come in the hard blister type packs because they do provide you the initial tools to get going. But from what I know, this is all metal for the most part. And again, all I can tell you is it's a module. And it may or may not have the solar panel, because the instructions don't actually show us attaching the solar panel to this module. So this may show up again later down the road in further stages, but we'll see. But just to show you how the manuals come, they do show up like this. They're like little magazines and great articles on space-related topics. And then you get to the end of the magazine and you get to the instructions. Now here, I'll let you read that. Nowhere does it say what module it is. Nowhere does it indicate what you're actually building. It just says put, you know, part 2 to part 3 or part A to B or whatever, and then that's what our completed stage is going to look like. So yeah, if anyone can tell what module this is, please let me know. Again, I'm assuming it's maybe something in the middle, but too early to tell yet. All right, let's get this cracked open and start the steps. Okay, the first step in building this project is taking part A, which is this metal framed centerpiece here that's got the little dog leg in it. And you want this T-post at the bottom side, and then you want the dog leg to where it dog legs up. So you don't want it going down, you want it rising up to this orientation. Then take part 1B, which is the bottom side of this module, and it only goes one way. It fits right over that dog leg, and there's one center post that will match up with this open hole right here. And take one AS5 screw and thread it into that plastic 1B. And the hole is a little recessed. There it goes. So now it's nice and snug. Okay. Then you take 1A and you slip it right over 1B, and it's just pressure fit. There, you could kind of hear it snap. There we go. No glue required. That was a solid joint right there. Okay, so that takes care of the first little module. Okay, the next step is taking the previous component we built and taking this round module, and look for the one that's got the recessed hole with the 2 posts. And this is where it gets tricky. They say take clips 2B and 2C and attach it to 2D. Now I can't tell the difference between B and D, other than the fact that the curvature can only go one way within the structure. For example, see the little orange thruster sticking up? If I try to put it in this way, well, actually there might be different size holes, because it doesn't even fit the shape. So you'll just kind of figure out as you go. And then the other side just slips into that hole there. There we go. Okay, now this it's a little tricky. Take the piece you previously built, and now your little dog leg is covered up by this module, and to keep it from getting confusing, you want to face it so this block end is not open, but you're looking at the closed end. And also the little T is on the top part, not the bottom part. So that's the orientation we want this in right now. We're going to take the part we just assembled, which is 2D, and you want to slip it over the coupler on the front of that module that we just built. So it's going to slip up from underneath up into that groove. Then we're going to place the next part, which is 2A, on top with this post going through the hole. So we'll fit that like there, and then we'll secure that with one AS5 screw down the center. And we'll snug that down until it stops, and will stop. Okay, so this little module is actually building up pretty quickly. Looking really cool so far. Okay, now we're working with a pretty significant chunk of the module here. This is again probably a separate unit than what we built before, but this big piece here, which is 2I, this is solid metal. So, but we're not threading into it, so we don't need the oil on the screws because we're still threading into the plastic. But we are going to take this piece here, which is 2H, and these two posts here are going to insert into these upper two holes here, like so. Okay, then we'll take two AS5 screws, and thread them in. Let me get that one started before I cinch it down so I can still get this one going. Okay, screw it until it stops. And we'll go back and finish this one. Okay, and we also want to take 2G, which is this little panel here, and it's going to straddle right over the center of the module and plug in just like, let's see, oh, there are two different ways. It only goes one way. One's recessed and one isn't. So that's good to note. Okay, and we'll take the other two AS5 screws and attach them from the inside. Okay, there we have that. Okay, and finally the last step in stage one is to attach these two panels, similar to the way we did that center one, except these go in at an angle. You'll see the angle of the post there. And they're only going to fit into one side. So let's see if we can. Okay, pretty tight tolerance there. Let me make sure that's the right. Let me put this one on this side and see if this is any. Ah, see, no, that's not. That one's not going to fit. So this might need to go over here. No, that's not working either. It's going to go this way. Okay, now in preparation for this next step, I completely encountered something utterly frustrating, and I would expect a lot more out of a company as well respected as DeAgostini, but parts 2F and 2E are printed incorrectly. And here's what I mean. If you look at this top module here, you've got 2 holes on this side with a slope. See that slope? And then 2 holes on this side with a slope. Okay, let me show you 2E and 2F. Here's 2E and 2F. Now, off the bat, they look the same, but 2F has these little ridges here on this side right here. That's the telltale sign. So let's deal with 2E to begin with, okay? Let's flip them around and show you how the backs work. Well, actually, let me just show you side by side. They look like they're the same piece. In other words, they only fit one way, which is the same direction. So if I put 2E in its proper slot here, it fits like a glove, just like it should. But then you take 2F and you put those posts down those holes. You can't because it's overlapping this panel here. This needs to be shifted over about 1/4 of an inch. But now the holes don't line up with the plugs. You see the dilemma there? So what I need to do is come up with a solution to attach this to this and bypass these lugs, because if I plug in the holes into those lugs, I get this overlap issue. Somehow, some way, they misprinted this piece where those posts should actually be shifted over 1/4 of an inch this way, so it would then fit. I'm just baffled by this. And you might be saying, well, try the other way, try the other piece. Well, I did. I've been working a lot off camera dealing with this, and this piece here, same issue. When you run the post in the direction of the slope, you get the same overlapping issue where it needs to be shifted down about 1/4 of an inch. So I can go ahead and insert 2E, and I'll take 2 of the AS5 screws and we'll attach this. This is part of modeling, though, you know, adapting and overcoming. But this, to me, is just, there's no excuse for them printing. I mean, these are, I'm assuming, injection molded parts. How does it not line up the right direction? That just blows my mind, that those posts are not where they need to be. So let me go off camera and figure out a solution, and we'll come back and get this resolved. Okay, here's the solution to our dilemma. 2F just does not fit right. It doesn't, you know, if you line those holes up, they're facing the wrong direction, the posts are. If you put it the right way, you get this overlap, so there's just no getting around it. These posts were printed incorrectly. And I did look at stage 2, which has the opposing side of this, and they have the correct parts. But this kit just did not come with the right parts. So my solution is, I've already mixed up a batch of JB weld, because we are going to be dealing with both plastic and metal. But I need to snip off these little posts, so I'm going to do that now. This pains me to do it, but it's got to be done. Okay. And then this one. Okay. Now I'm going to clean that up a little bit with an X-Acto knife, just to get, although it's pretty clean cut actually. I'm really surprised that this is, you know, impossible of happening. I see it as a challenge, and you know, and a true modeler deals with, you know, having to overcome obstacles, but this one, if you guys remember, a couple years ago I built a B-25 plastic model kit, and one of the wings was not ejection molded properly, and it was cut short about half, so I had to implement a new little scheme to fix that, and I did, and it worked. But again, it's just at what point do you say enough's enough? I'm tired of having to fix these little things. So let me get some 220 here and just sand this. Okay, let me scuff up the whole plastic because we're going to end up gluing all that anyway. Okay. Now I want to take the sandpaper and I want to scuff up the surface where we're going to be attaching it to. Looks like there's some sort of gloss coat or veneer painted over the paint, but we're getting through that, and I'm actually starting to see some bare metal down there. Okay, can you see the bare metal starting to shine through? So that's good. We're getting down to what we need to. I figured y'all would get bored watching me sand for a while, but I did sand that down to the bare metal. So we're in position there. Now before I glue this on, I'm thinking I might want to create, I don't know, if I could put some glue in here, that would give me an attachment point as well. So I'm going to see if I can attach these AS5 screws to the posts. And then maybe that would give me a little more purchase power. Let me see if I can hold that still. Yeah, I think it's going to work. Okay. Now this is going to put a little bit of a hiccup into my build schedule because I'm going to have to wait for this JB weld to dry and cure overnight until I can start stage 2, because it's going to require attaching this other module half. So okay, so there, I got those screwed in. At least that'll give me something to bite onto with the glue, and then let me trim those flush. There we go. Let's see how this is going to fit. Pretty good. Not too bad. Do a little more cleanup. Okay, that's good. I clean that up just a little bit more. Okay, let me take my JB weld up here, and well, you know what? I'm gonna put kind of like a blob in the hole. So we can get as much purchase as we can down there. Okay, now I'm just going to spread the glue very thin, because what I don't want is it to seep out. Okay. And we'll take our piece here, make sure it's oriented the right way, and lay in position. And I may have to do a little bit of sliding around. But that's going to work out good. Okay, we are officially now done with stage 1. As you can see, and this is being filmed the next day now, that panel that we had to work with is permanently on. The JB weld is holding strong. Plus I got the backup screws and all that jazz that I showed you. So yeah, it's perfectly straight. It's right where it needs to be. Looks good. Nobody will know unless they watch this video that that's been modified. So that's done. We also have the centerpiece complete, and I'm sure in near future stages we'll be adding on to it. But again, time will tell. And we still have this one unused solar panel, which the manual says that we are just to store away for the time being, and it will be used shortly, but not quite yet. So we'll just hang on to this in a safe place. So that wraps up stage 1. Let's get going on stage 2. Okay, the first step in stage 2 is taking this new cross member here. This is solid metal, just like we had in the last stage. And you got to be careful to get the orientation right. You got 2 small holes over here and 1 larger one over here. We want to work on this side that's got the 2. And we want to take these plastic pieces here. And you got to be careful. This little guy, this is 2L. I don't know if that's an antenna or what that is, but it simply slides into that little opening there. And it's I believe a pressure fit, and it should be pretty tight. Oh yeah, that's never coming out. So got that in easy enough. And then we are to take this part here, 2K. It looks like it's some sort of adapter or coupler. And from what I can tell, there is no top or bottom. They're pretty symmetrical. So we're just gonna fit that into that little place, and I think it should snap in. Yeah, so that snapped in good. Okay, then we take our cross piece here, and again with the 2 holes on the left side and the short part sticking up, we're going to slide that through, and it's just going to sit like that momentarily. Now we're going to bring in another module from the last stage to adapt to it. Okay, now we're going to bring in the old module we did on stage 1, and this has that little open end metal adapter with 2 holes. Well, it just so happens that that's going to line up with the 2 holes here. Now you want to get this right and make sure that we're coming in from the closed side, the little gray circle on top of that module facing up, and we're going to slide the block in this way and line up those holes. And the MS4 screws are going into metal, so I'm going to dip that in the oil. To help the threading. Okay, before I tighten it down, let's do the second one. Now this you can snug maybe a little bit more than the plastic because it's going to hold the threads better. Yeah, nice and snug. Yeah, something tells me that this is going to be like the backbone of the space station, so we definitely want all these members as tight as we possibly can keep them. Okay, so that takes care of joining the body. This thing's getting big already. All right, let's move on to the next step. Okay, now we finally get to put to good use the module that we built in stage 1 with the glue, and it's still holding strong. But now we're going to attach this to this, I'm going to call it the spine because I don't know what else to call it. But attached it to the spine of the space station. And one thing to note is this part here, 2M, does have a little catch that needs to go under the lip on this module here. So as I slide this on, and you'll see how things kind of line up into the right spots. This got to slide in. And yeah, it locks it into place. Nice and snug there, perfect. Okay, so while that's there, we need to put one of the MS4 screws right here. Again, this is in the metal, so we can make sure it's nice and tight. Okay, let me just double check these are still tight, because once it's covered up, we won't be able to access them anymore. Okay, good, so that part's still locked in. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now we're building the other half of that module, again, solid metal, and we've got these same two little side flaps, but these were formed and molded correctly. You can see those two fit right into there as it should, snaps in. And then the other one actually just has a single post, which makes things a lot less confusing. So that goes in just like that, and you can see they're equally spaced with that center ring open. So we're just going to take our two donkey screws and slide them in and attach them nice and firm. Now again, this is plastic, so snug is good enough. We don't need to risk stripping any of the threads. So one on that side and two on this side. Now this module is built in a little bit different order than the other one, but I know they have their reasons, so we'll just follow the proper steps. Okay, so that's complete. Now we can start moving on to adding more to the main module. Okay, in this step we're going to be plugging in a bunch of what looks like to be antennas or some such thing, 4 of them into this module halfway in, and then this top module that we just created is going to then snap in over that and keep the antennas in place. And I think I had it backwards. Yeah, it goes this way. So let's get these plugged in first. And they only go in one way. Okay. Just like so. Okay, so they hold like that, and then we're going to place our module. I just noticed as I was about to put that on, this one was rotated a little bit. Let me just make sure that this screw is secure. Yeah, it is. But it's just because it's a single, I guess it allows it to rotate just slightly. Okay, so now we got that straightened out. We'll plug this in, and we're going to cover that shoulder on that cone part there to lock it into place, and then everything else should fall right into position. Okay, yep, and all the antennas are in the proper format. Looks like that one might be off just a little bit. This bottom one seems to be just ever so slightly not wanting to cooperate. So, okay, I'm looking at the diagram. It actually has this going the other way, so that might explain it. Let's see if it fits any better this way. No, I can't say it fits any better. Okay. Okay. I had to check the book. So one diagram in the manual, let me show you the book here, shows that piece, 2S, is actually aimed outward, but in this diagram it looks like it's pointing in the other direction. So it really only fits this way, so I think that diagram might be incorrectly illustrated. So we're just gonna have to go with that, and again, that's the only way it fits, so that is the only way we can do it. So there we go. See, now things line up. It fills that hole nicely. Okay, so let's put in our 4 screws. And again, this is going into metal. Okay. You got to be careful now when you're handling this. You don't want to snap any of those antennae off, because they do stick out precariously. There we go. All right. That is looking pretty good. Okay. Okay, the last screw that we're going to use for stage 2 is one AS5 screw. And it's going to fit right into that center screw right between where the 2 modules meet. Okay, that threaded in nicely. Okay, and the last parts we have, we actually are just going to clip them on. They don't require any screws. So we're going to take this piece right here. It's got 3 pins, and it's going to line up with these 3 holes here, and that's just going to pressure fit right into place. Yep, that's holding tight. And this big cover here, which is again, has got 3 posts, and it's going to snap in right over there. There, in fact, it actually snapped. Okay, then on the top side, let me get this oriented the right direction. We're actually going to turn this around this direction, and we've got, let's see, well, let's do 2X and 2Y, which are these little guys here, and make sure that they're oriented the right direction. They have these little legs that stick out the bottom. And I believe this is going to be 2Y. No, this is 2X. It's going to go on the left-hand side, down in these slots right here. Okay. And this is 2Y, and it's going to go on this side. Seems to me like this one should be going further in, but it's not. But it's secure. Okay, that's good. Okay, then this little piece here, which I couldn't tell you what it is, but looks pretty cool. It's going to go with this little cylinder on the top. And it's going to fit around this cupola thing. Let's see. There, just like so. All right, that was a little fiddly. And again, you got to be really careful not to snap any of these antennas off that are sticking out. But that wraps up stage 2 and the end of this package. So that concludes package 1, which was stages 1 and 2 of the DeAgostini ISS kit. Here it is in its completed form up to this point. This is quite the hefty little module. In fact, I'm kind of curious what this weighs, but it feels like it weighs a good pound or two, actually. I mean, got some solid metal running throughout with some plastic tidbits attached to the sides and top and bottom, but overall, very nice build. Again, I cannot believe that we got a kit that required gluing on one of the panels because the holes didn't line up. That still really surprises me, but we overcame it. We got it fixed, and it looks perfect. So moving on to the next package for this, and that'll be in a couple weeks. Next week, we've got more of the Lotus Ayrton Senna Special coming up, so look forward to that. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.